Hey everyone, this is Mark, and I wanted to document a newer project that I'm working on with you and give you a little bit of a background about where I'm at. This is part of my little diary series, and holding myself accountable as well as helping other people that maybe are looking for something. So I wanted to discuss in this video talking about a new project I've been working on, the idea of offering financial services. And this has come about in about the last month. The reason, obviously, because, with COVID-19, everything is shut down, and, me being involved heavily in martial arts industry, and knowing a lot of people that have a martial arts school and that have, or business owner, and realize how much they've been struggling. And not just that, people that have lost their job, or people that are afraid of losing their job. So it sucks for everybody. So, a little bit of background about how I got involved in this. So I'm basically, was in the middle, I do a lot of, for my own personal training, I do a lot. I'm very tough about having some good quality martial arts notes. So I'm literally in the middle of doing my notes and, making sure I'm very, very tough about it because, as a teacher, I want to make sure that I'm going to be able to pass on the best and most accurate information to my students and to my students' students and so on. And I think that it's really important, so I don't want to half-ass it. And I don't think other people should, especially instructors and people that, people look up to you to have that kind of information. So I'm sitting there doing that, and, of course you have your Facebook Messenger going and stuff like that. And a friend of mine I've known for forever, I think for probably about 13 years. And, he's running a very large martial arts group, and he's been doing business on the side. And, the people that I've talked to up to this point, everyone's talking about how they're bleeding out. They're down in the first week, down $1,500, in income, which is residual for martial arts, where you're getting every month or something like that. It's tough, right? So, I was talking to him, and he's doing great. I was it was a little different because everyone else is saying how they're struggling, and they really have gone to doing a lot of online training and then just doing what they can to provide classes and training to their students, so that their students have something to do, so that they learn, and so that the school can stick around. And he's like, "Oh no, I'm doing as great as ever." And I was like, "Oh really?" So I started talking to him, and I knew that he had his own business. He's been doing it, I think, for about 6 years. But, and I have a lot of trust, we have, if you know anything about martial arts, is that you learn a lot about each other when you see them train, right? Because you're seeing people when they're hitting the ground, when they're getting punched, and to see somebody that kind of gets back up, or just keeps, they keep going, it talks a lot about their character. So when you realize, you know somebody's good character, and you see they're doing well, then there's an inherent a lot of trust that you have in what they're telling you. So he's like, "Oh no, it's doing well." He told me how in his first year of working in that industry, he's a independent business associate, right? So he's not working for anybody else; he's doing it for himself. He said he got to 6 figures within the first year. I was like, "All right, I mean that's worth listening to, right?" And he mentioned to me that it was, that he was independent business associate of a company called Primerica. And I was like, well, I had a little apprehension about that. When I was a kid, I remember that my dad got into Primerica, and there's sort of there's a certain image that I had, and whether it was right or wrong, it's what is, right? We get an image, we get a picture of something in our head, and sometimes, it's like we hold firmly to that, right? So it's a cognitive dissonance that I had. So, I was like, all right, but, this guy's doing really well. He's doing over 6 figures now. He's doing everything remote. He's living on residual income. I was like, all right, let's put it aside. Let's put myself aside and my impression of it, and let me listen. So, because I know he is who he says he is, and I know he is making what he says he's making. So I was introduced to someone that talked to me a little bit more, who had actually been doing it a lot longer than 6 years, and making tons of money. And the guy was actually just kind of travels for like 16 months at a time, and just kind of steps away, living on residual income, and takes his whole family, cruises, living out of Airbnbs, hotels, cruises, all that kind of stuff, and then just hopping on some calls once in a while, through something like Zoom, and just killing it. So I was like, all right, I'm much more interested in what's going on here, because it makes sense. And, sometimes we have to get out of our own way as far as when we have a preconceived notion about what something is. And granted, it was a long time from my dad being involved with that company. And back then, it was all about, I remember it was all about like insurance and mutual funds and all that kind of stuff, right? But now, it's so diverse. We're a huge company. And they're doing, they're still doing that, but they're also doing like mortgages, security systems, legal, advice systems, stuff like that, So it was like, okay, that's something I can work with. And if you think about it, it makes sense. Somebody such as me that has a background in helping other people, martial arts, ultimately, it's not just about self-defense. You want to teach people how to be strong in their life, right? So how not to be a victim. And it's not just about somebody punching you, right? So it's how you live your life. So it made sense to me, this is a natural extension from that. And, if you've ever looked into the cost of starting a business, or you've looked into the cost of a franchise or something like that, ultimately what you're doing is you're trading one job for another, right? So the only difference is, instead of you going and putting in 40, 50, 60, 70 hours, and then going home and, trying to forget about it until the next day, when you are owning, when you're doing like a franchise or a brick and mortar business, it's a fallacy to think that it's going to be the heavens are going to open up and, everyone's just going to come realize how great you are and come in. It doesn't really work that way. And I've seen people that are phenomenal martial artists, and then they have no students, right? I've seen people that are complete opposite of that. They're like, you're like, where did you train? And they're like, their schools are packed. So there's something else there, and you don't want to trade one job for another. I don't want to trade one job for another. And if you notice, my whole channel is really about building residual income, being able to live a fulfilling, vibrant life that you choose what that is defined as. So everything sounds good to me. And basically, I realized that, with as much as something like a franchise or starting a new business costs, tons of money, for essentially the cost of like a Netflix account, I could be involved in this. And it's aligned with my values of helping other people as well, while also my interest of building wealth. So I got involved, and the first step was I had to get some licensing done. Now here's the weird thing, is that everything is shut down. The cool thing is like everything can be done remotely now, so don't need to go anywhere. So that was a big deal to me, because I don't see myself sitting across from a table from somebody and, doing that. I'm more of like, let's build a team, let's build an operational system, and let's kind of make it work. We help people, we help ourselves. It's a win-win-win. So, as they say, it was The Office, win-win-win. So, I realized that, there was about a 40-hour course in Florida that you had to go through for pre-licensing, and then you had to take exams and get fingerprinted, all this kind of stuff. So for me, just the way that I am, I don't think it takes most people, I think, about a month and a half to get through that phase. But for me, I think, all right, in order for me to really help people, in order for me to get to that next level and start building that residual income, it's not going to happen until I get through this first phase. So in other words, I'm going to take this time and I'm going to really crunch it down and really focus, right? Because I can't get to that next stage until this is done, so there's no way this is going to take me a month and a half, right? I will tell you, it took me a lot less than a month and a half. Like I said, about 40 hours worth of work. In Florida, the testing centers are closed. So, but they have a temporary license you can get by taking a test online and then go in later to do your test. So, I was able to get through that very quickly, very focused about it. So if you're like me and you're very focused, then this is definitely something, if you kind of meet all those checkpoints of where you don't want to rely on other people for your income, you want to be able to help yourself, you want to be able to be home more and do the things you want. Should be pretty much about everybody, I think, unless you're doing the hamster wheel. Then, this is really cool. It's a really interesting thing to do. And, I've seen it. It was a matter of someone that I don't know telling me how great it is. I know because I saw. So I got through that. And there's really two ways that you are going to work this business well. The first is you're helping other people by offering them the products that I had mentioned. And the second way is that you're going to build a team that's going to do the same thing. So in other words, I don't want to just have my direct team. I want them to also have a team too. And the reason is not because I'm like, oh, you make money, so you make money. There's that too. But ultimately, I'm helping the people that are working directly with me. I want them to get that same support, right? So because if they get that same support, like if you're doing this and you now are building a team as well, then you're like, okay, this is happening. I'm all in, right? And you're fired up, fearless, and focused, right? Otherwise, you're not like calling up your, going door to door. I'm like, excuse me, sir, ma'am, do you want to buy this thing? So it's very much a team sport, the way that I would describe it, even though it's your own business. It's a really interesting thing. So at this point, I have gotten through the initial licensing, the temporary license here. I've actually started building a team already. I'm very fortunate. I know a lot of people. I know a lot of people that are involved in the martial arts industry. I know a lot of people that are business owners. And, inherently, one of the sad side effects of dealing with this pandemic is that it really took, the employment really took a crap, right? So there's a lot of people that are hurting, and there's a lot of people that are scared, and honestly, there's a lot of people that are kind of fed up, right? You're relying on somebody else to punch your meal ticket. So that's where I'm at. It's going very well so far. I've already made a little money at it, and doing as little work as possible. So that's really good. So that's about it. So I'm going to keep you updated on this. If you have any questions about anything, go ahead and feel free to leave a comment, and I'll talk to you soon.